prediction. So today we are going to have one very interesting and simple technique of representing your spatial data with the help of QGIS. QGIS is open source software, and Dr. Anshu Bhardwaj, who has got training on this from abroad also, as well as she has been teaching this course from the last 7-8 years. So she's going to, even though it is a 6 months course, we cannot do justice to the course in 1 hour, but she will tell the sources, and like she will expose the participants to the methodology so that you can use in your writing your papers and your research. So I would first of all, before inviting her for the lecture, let me just introduce you. Dr. Anshu Bhardwaj is a principal scientist at ICAR, Indian Agriculture Statistics Research Institute, in the discipline of computer application. She has been working on various projects related to artificial intelligence, machine learning, and also geospatial technologies. She is also co-partner in one of our recent project on remote sensing based yield prediction. And she's also teaching in Division of Computer Application and guiding MSc and PhD students in computer applications. She did her PhD in the area of spatial data mining from Jawaharlal Nehru University. So, I'm very happy to invite her for this lecture on making thematic maps using QGIS. So, as I am telling you, this is just an exposure and sensitization on using this free software QGIS for making these thematic maps in social sciences. Along with Dr. Anshu, one of her colleague, student come colleague, PhD student, will also be joining for some hands-on. So I also welcome Lalit for this session. So Dr. Anshu, let us now proceed for the lecture. The lecture will end at 3:30 at the most, because we have our valediction due at 3:30, and you are invited for that too. So over to Dr. Anshu Bhardwaj. You are muted, I hope.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajni, for the introduction. And from my side, I welcome you all to this session, the last session of your training program. So since I have a very limited time to tell you and get you acquainted with the QGIS, I will just go through a few of the slides, because since QGIS is a software, so there is not much theory to tell you about it. And once I'm over with the few slides that I want to show to you, then we can start with the hands-on. What we have planned for today's session is, we have planned very few simple basic exercises that we can start with when we are starting to learn QGIS. Since it is a software, we can have the learning on our own, self-learning kind of a thing. But how it works and what it is, I will just let you know about it. As I know about this training program, I think you already have got exposure to the applications of GIS and how we are using the remote sensing data and geospatial analysis for agricultural purposes. So now I'll just share my slides. Give me a moment. Dr. Rajni, I need the rights to share the screen.
Yes, ma'am. Again, time, ma'am. Now, feasible.
Is the screen visible now? Is the screen
Yes.
visible? Kindly
Yes,
let me know.
yes, madam. Yes, yes.
Yes, madam.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. So this is QGIS, making thematic maps. We all know that GIS is Geographical Information System, and whenever we talk of geography, what we visualize is having a map in front of us. And as they say that a picture is worth 1,000 words, when we see a map, there are many things that we can infer from it. So QGIS is not a very old software in the market, but it has taken up very well being a open source software. So a few things about this. So QGIS until 2013, it was known as Quantum GIS. So when it started as a software with the name of Quantum GIS, Quantum Geographical Information System.
Anshu,
So
your screen is not moving, and please make it in slideshow mode.
Yeah, it is in slideshow mode.
Then you have to again stop share and share it again.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
moving as well. Mhm.
Is it visible now?
Yes. Yes.
But it is not moving from my side also. Just let me sort it out. Is this visible?
Yes, visible, but again, it is not in slideshow form.
Yeah. Now it is in slideshow form. Now it is moving also.
But not for us.
No, is it moving now?
Not for us.
I don't know what is the problem. I can see that moving. Okay.
Then you continue with this format only, no problem.
Okay.
It is okay.
I think this will.
You can make it little bigger. This
Is it now? Now is it moving?
Moving. It is moving, Anshu, but it is not
In the slideshow mode, yes.
No problem. You carry on with this only. No
Yeah, I will just make it a little bigger.
Yes.
So as we said that QGIS was known to be quantum GIS, and quantum GIS, when it started as quantum GIS. It is a free and open source cross-platform desktop geographical information system application that supports all kinds of processing that we can carry out on geographical data. That is viewing, editing, and analysis. So when we are looking forward to get some information from geospatial data, we have to have all these things. For example, we want to view it, how does it look like? Then if we have a data we want to edit it, we want to make some changes. So QGIS gives the provision of editing this of the data, and in fact the geospatial analysis, which is the important part of any data and data usage. It is a professional GIS application, as we know, and it is built up on top of and proud to be itself the free and open source software. We know that these days everyone is talking of open source software because of the accessibility. People are using more and more softwares which are open source so that they have the access to the software to handle their data. And earlier, there were many softwares in GIS which were working for geographical data or spatial data. but most of them were proprietary or licensed software. So there was a limitation to learning, even to the teaching also, because today here in this training program, I am talking of QGIS because I don't have the hiccups of having a licensed software, giving it to my trainees and letting them have the hands-on. Since it is an open source software, we can just install it and start working on it. So I'll go just a little fast so that you can have the hands-on session also. So what it is, as I said, it is an open source desktop application. It analyzes and edits the spatial data. I expect that by this class, you must be knowing what spatial data is. But just to remind you that geographical data and spatial data are not same, but they are similar. Geographical data is a subset of spatial data. Spatial data means any data which has a space aspect attached to it. Space in terms of it can be with respect to a space within a building. Even the spatial data, if we talk of an MRI of a body is a spatial data, X-ray of a body is a spatial data, but it is not geographical. Whenever we talk of geographical data, that means it has to have a connection with the Earth's surface. So the connection or location on Earth's surface, whatever data is telling us about it is known as geographical data. And as we know, the geography of a thing or an object on the Earth's surface is known by its latitude and longitude. So any data which has longitude and latitudes attached to it, they are known as geographical data. Then what other thing QGIS does is it creates and exports maps. So this is the most interesting part. As I said, map looks like a beautiful picture in front of us, from which we can infer a lot many things. As any other GIS software, even QGIS incorporates many of the open source tools within itself so that it becomes more stronger and efficient and effective in dealing with the geographical data, which are GDAL, GrassGIS, PostGIS, and Spatial Light. So these are some of the open source tools for GIS which it can incorporate in itself, and we can work on it. We would not go in detail of this. A little bit of history about QGIS. It was originally developed by Gary Sherman in 2002. So it is not very, very old. It has just completed 20 years. And in last 5 to 6 years, it has really geared up and taken and have got into any or all walks of life. People have started using it extensively. Then it was adopted in 2007. As I said, that everything when it starts, it evolves over the period of time. People take time to accept it. So this Open Source Geospatial Foundation adopted this software in 2007. And then 2013, the name was changed to QGIS. So Quantum GIS, from Quantum GIS, Q was taken and it came to be known as rechristened as QGIS. Now the latest version is 3.22.3, which it was not in testing. It is now there, and there are long time release also. So how does a GIS software differs from an Adobe Photoshop of any other photo editing softwares? It is that it is something like what we do using Adobe Photoshop. It is to making maps what Adobe Photoshop does with the images. Because we know that we have an image, we take it to the Adobe Photoshop and we start editing it. Similarly, QGIS gives us the advantage of editing the maps. Now, I have been talking of editing the maps or viewing the maps, but we will start how we make the maps, because we are talking of making maps using QGIS. So it gives us the ability to create maps from scratch or from imported data. So maps are created in various ways. One is that we have the hard copies, we bring it to the GIS software and we digitize it. This is one kind of creation of map. The other thing is we scan the map and then digitize it. The third thing is that we have the attribute table, or we have the data, the latitude, longitude, and the related data in a tabular format, and then we create the map out of that. So there are many things. how the map is created. Now, once the data is there, the data is there, we modify or add the different parameters or variables or attributes to the existing map or create a new map out of it. This software is set up so that each imported map or map feature is a layer. What is a layer? That we will come to know, because if you remember, I had talked of thematic map. So thematic, what is a thematic map? We have to understand that when we create a map or when we make a map, we have a theme behind it. If to say that if I want the map of all kinds of soils in a particular agroecological zone of the country, then this map will have a theme of soil type. The theme is soil type, so this will be known as thematic map of soil type. So from the word theme, the thematic has come. And then the layers can be made of point locations, background. So what all these things are, that you will come to know when we will have a hands-on. So there are two main categories of maps that QGIS can assemble along with the type of data which is required to make these maps. And these two kind of maps are, first, the map of event locations, such as where does the lightning lightning struck, or where we experience the earthquake or tornado or any other natural phenomena, or the locations of tagged animals. This is one kind of thing. Even we can have the maps of, as I said, that it can be of crop residual burning, as you had already had a lecture on this. So these maps require importing the comma separated variables like in CSV file or a text file. So once we import this kind of file, we can create the maps out of it. So for these kinds of maps which are including these kinds of phenomena, we have to have a CSV or text file. And then contrary to these things, they can be saved with tabs, spaces, or other characters which are separating the information, and not just commas. If we are unsure how our CSV file is organized, simply we have to open it and a text editor such as a notepad to determine what characters separate rows and columns. So this is how we handle the CSV file before we bring it to the QGIS. And the second type of maps that can be created in QGIS are maps of regions which colored according to data, such as a map of countries shaded by population. To create this map, we will need the ISRI shapefile. Now, what is an ISRI shapefile? I will just tell you a comparative statement of two softwares where we'll talk of ISRI software. And this includes the country borders and names and IDs, as well as a CSV file that has country population or any other theme that we are making map out of it by country name or country ID. Now, as I said, we have the ISRI shapefile, as you had just seen. ISRI is one of the oldest organization based in US who had started with the first or the earliest GIS software, which is nowadays known as ArcGIS, if you have heard of it. The latest version of ArcGIS is ArcGIS Pro 2.8, and this is a commercial product, licensed one, which comes with a very high cost also. So there is a comparison of both of them. But since this is a software from an organization who had researched a lot on geographical data, handling it, analyzing it, they had started creating different shapefiles. Shapefiles is a data type in geographical information system software. So any GIS software, whether it is QGIS or any other one, they use the shape files which are prepared and developed by ISRI. So the ISRI has a software known as ArcGIS, and all the shape files which are ISRI has developed can be used by any other GIS software. So ArcGIS Pro is the closest commercial product which is similar to QGIS. It gives almost similar functions, but still ArcGIS and QGIS have some very important differences also. So how do we compare it? QGIS is free, we know that. ArcGIS Pro is annually pay for the licenses, which is a good amount of money. QGIS works on any kind of platform. As if you remember in the first slide, I told you that it is a cross-platform open source software. So you can work it on, use it on Windows, Mac, Linux, anyone. But ArcGIS has a restriction that it works only on Windows. QGIS can examine and modify the codes. If you have been analyzing some geographical data and you want to write your own code, you can write the code, you can modify it, or if QGIS is giving this analysis on its own code, source code, you can still examine that code. Whereas ArcGIS does not give this advantage to you. It is a black box where it does its analysis within itself, and we are not able to see what is happening, what is the code, and we cannot even modify that. Another important feature is that the lots of Googling to troubleshoot. You can have a lot of information that you can see on Google and get the things done or resolved. If you are facing any problems in QGIS, you can troubleshoot it using the Google or any search engine over the net, over the web. You can find the resolutions to your problem using QGIS. But for ArcGIS, it is very strict that we need to have their technical support to resolve the issues. Documentation is outdated in QGIS. This is one disadvantage because it is open source, nobody owns it, so everybody thinks that someone else will do it. But for ArcGIS, the documentation is very, very good, very robust, and it is always up to date. Training material is available, and this is similar with ArcGIS. Many training material and examples are available. User interface can be confusing a bit on QGIS, which is very, very user friendly in ArcGIS. Since it is a commercial product, they have a very big team working behind it. They have their research and development wing, which is different and which keeps on doing many new things for ArcGIS. So it is very user friendly, and they are always with an objective. They work that they have to make it more user friendly, more understanding and easy to use. QGIS has no multi-threading support for spatial tools, whereas it has some multi-threading support for spatial data. So this is the basic difference between ArcGIS and QGIS. I would just go to some resource documentation that we can have for QGIS. This is the project website is there, and then training manuals are available on this website. User manuals are also, and then Python QGIS documentation is also there. If somebody is working with Python and they want to use QGIS, they can use this. This is a very good tutorial which is available on the web, which can give very hands-on practicals also we can do when we start QGIS. So although I have many more slides, but looking into the time paucity, I would just request Lalit to share his screen, and we will start with installation of QGIS. Lalit?
Yes, ma'am.
Kindly share screen. I'm unsharing this.
Okay.
So to start with, we would first install QGIS. Lalit will be here, and I'm also here to just assist you that how you can install QGIS and then start working on it with very small examples to start with the basic things. This is, you can just get it on QGIS thing on the web.
My screen is visible, ma'am?
Yes, the screen is visible, Lalit.
Okay, thank you. So our first task is to how to download the QGIS, and as a beginner, which version we have to install. So first you have to open Google and just type QGIS, and you can see here the website. Welcome to the QGIS project. And again, you can see here the download option. Click on download.
आप लोग साथ साथ भी कर सकते हैं.
Yes, yes, you can do it too. Okay. Network is long. Yeah. So you can see the here several version of QGIS. QGIS in OSGeo 4W, but it is not recommended for the beginners. It is recommended for the regular user. And below that, you can also see here the some version, and it is recommended for the new users. But this version is in testing mode. So here you can see a tab, and from this tab you can see all release. So click on it, and previous release of QGIS are still available here. So click on it. So yeah, you can see here the different versions are available here. So I recommended that you should install this 2 point here. Just here. This 2.18.28 version as a beginner. So click on it and you can install. Yeah, you can do it here. Yeah. So this is the version you have to install. Now next task is to we will do some practicals, how to add vector data and raster data in QGIS, and how to create a vector layer, and how to digitize our map. So we will see this practical in QGIS. So let me share it. Yeah. So here you can see the basic user interface of QGIS. Let me create new project. So here, this is the basic user interface of the QGIS. You can see here the toolbar. In this toolbar, you can see project, option, edit, view, layer, setting, plugins, vector, and so on. Option is here. So through project option, you can create new project. You can open already created project, and you can save it. And there are many options are here. And you can see below this menu toolbar, you can see the this menu bar, you can see the toolbar. Here is the project toolbar. In this, there are many options are provided here. And at the leftmost side, you can see a panel window. And here you can see the layers is here. So which layer we are adding, we can see here. And at the middle, you can see the map view. Here map will be so. And at the right side, you can see the process toolbar. And at the bottom, you can see status bar. So in status bar, you can see the coordinate, scale, magnifier, rotation, and this coordinate reference system. So now our task is to how to add vector layer, or how to add raster layer. So here you can see the layer option. Click on this layer option, then you can see here the add layer. And again in add layer, you can see a add raster layer. So here for adding raster layer, click on it, add raster layer. Then you can see here the source from where you can add your layer. So click on this three dot for browse. So I have already downloaded a image of India. So click on it, then open it. and then click on it and close it. So you can see in the map view, the map of India is available here. So this is our first task. We add the raster layer, or we can say we add the raster data in our QGIS. So now next step, we have to add vector data. So for this, you can click again on a layer. Then you can see the add layer, then add vector layer. Click on it. Now again, you have to choose your source from where you are upload the data. Click on it. So basically, I have already downloaded some save file from the internet. Let me load this. Yeah, you can add multiple vector layer at a time. So I'm doing this same here. Open it, add it, and close it. So at layer panel, you can see different layers are added. Let me unclick it. So you can see here that we added a vector layer in India map. So this is the we added 4 vector layer. So the layer 0 is showing the India level, and layer 1 is showing the state level. So let me, you can see the state of India, and layer 2 is showing the district level. Let me unclick it, so you can see the district level map of India. And again, you can see block level of India. So this is the block level map of India. So up to this, we have to add the raster layer, and we have to add vector layer. So यहाँ तक किसी को कोई डाउट हो तो पूछ सकते हैं आप. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
You are audible, Lalit, and participants, like in case they have some questions, they will ask you. Okay, you can carry on.
Yes. If you have some question, please ask.
In chat.
From where do we get these layer data, which you have said that you have already downloaded it? From where do we download that?
There are many sources like Bhuvan portals and some other sources, ISRO sites, and there are many save files you can find from these sites, Bhuvan portal, and from ISRO site you can download this data. And you can also create these save files or vector data. In next practical, I will show how to digitization of map and how to create this save file from the raster data. Okay, so next practical is how to digitization of our map. Suppose you have to download it India map, which is JPG format or any image format. You can see here this is in the map view. Now I want to the save file of this particular state of India. So suppose I want to extract this Uttarakhand from this JPG file or from this raster data. So basically, I have to create for this. I have to create a vector layer. So let us create vector layer. Go to the layer, then create vector layer. Then click on the new save file. Now give the name of your file. I think okay, Uttarakhand, and select a folder for in which you are saving your this file. Save it here. Now here is a geometry type. You can select polygon. And next is additional dimension. Keep it none. And you can see here the coordinate reference system. So EPSG is okay. Now give the name of field. So suppose I have used it. Now add to field this. So here I have add this field. Now click on OK. So you can see here I have created a vector layer. This UK. You can see here I have created a vector layer UK. Now I have to extract this Uttarakhand map from this raster data. So how to do it? So this you can see in toolbar. You can see option toggle editing. Click on it. Then you can see here the option add polygon features. Click on it. Then you have to draw a point around the boundary of Uttarakhand. So let me do. Click on it. You have to follow the boundary of Uttarakhand. Yeah. Then right click. Then you can see a field which I have already added. So let click one. Then name. Okay. Then click on OK. So you can see pink color means I have extracted this Uttarakhand map from the raster data. So you can unclick it and see. So this is our UK map. Yeah, it is not perfectly, but you can do it by your own. Let me unclick and save. So this is our third practical digitization we have done. So up to this, any query, any question? Yes, participants, if you have any query, you can ask. Okay. So next practical we will do attribute joining. So let me unclick it and again click it. Let me open again.
ना खाना खा लो मम्मी। नहीं मैंने खाया, मैं तो क्लास चली रही ना 15 मिनट और चलो, मतलब खाऊंगी 15 मिनट में।
Anshu, your mic is on.
Let me open new project. I have already done this practical. So our next practical is how to join attributes in our SF file. So
Dilip, just wait for a while. जो participants हैं, any participant has any other any questions? Actually, because the time is very less, so he is going a little fast, but the motive will get defeated if you are not understanding anything.
Yes.
No sir, no ma'am. अभी ऐसा कोई क्वेश्चन तो आया नहीं है. आएगा तो
ठीक है. So we can move ahead, right?
Okay ma'am.
अच्छा, एक चीज से पहले देखिए, जो आपका राइट साइड पैनल है एक, जहां पर आपको ये प्रोसेसिंग टूल बॉक्स दिख रहा है, वहां आप जो मैंने आपको बताया था ना कि कुछ जो ऑनलाइन हमारे पास टूल्स हैं जीआईएस में जो इनकॉर्पोरेटेड हैं, वो यहाँ आप देख सकते हैं। GDL, ग्रास एंड सेगा, दे आर ऑल इनकॉर्पोरेटेड इन QGIS, राइट? सो ये कैसे यूज होते हैं, दैट यू विल कम टू नो once you start working on it. So Anju Bhagat is asking which basic version is needed to be installed. Okay, अंजू बेसिक वर्जन ये है कि आप जो भी देखेंगे जब आप डाउनलोड करेंगे, वर्जन हो आप वही डाउनलोड कीजिए, क्योंकि बिल्कुल बेसिक वर्जन में तो आपको हो सकता है कि बहुत सारी फंक्शनैलिटीज ना भी मिले, बिकॉज इट इज कॉन्टिन्यूअसली गेटिंग इम्प्रूव्ड. फाइन. हाँ, ओके दिलीप, ललित, you can move ahead.
Okay. So suppose someone give me data and told me that you have to add this data on this map and analyze this data. So so for this I'm doing the joining attribute in the map. So for this you have to see here the for this you can see here the layer. Again create again you have to add a vector layer, and this click on this delimited text. Now you have to select your CVS format and select your CVS file from your folder. So you have see the I have already this migration data of Madhya Pradesh. Then open it. Then you can see here the sample data. So here the district name and the migration of total person, and migration male migration and female migration. So add it and close. So you can see here the empty migration layer I have added, and you can see the attribute of this table. Right click on it and open attribute table. So you can see here the also the data is here. Now our next task is to join this migration data with the district level map. So for this, right click on it, district, select this district level and right click on it, and then click on properties. So you can see here the join option. So click on it, then you can see here the plus symbol in green color. Click on it. So add new join. Okay, let me first do it. Then you can see here the join layer. So at migration layer, I'm joining the data, and again you have to select the join field. At which field you are joining. So here I'm joining at name field. In targeted field, you have to also select the targeted field. So here I'm selecting the name field, and then click on OK. Then you can see here the join layer NP migration. Now apply, click on apply, and then click on OK. Now आपको ये कैसा पता चलेगा कि आपने जो डाटा ज्वाइन किया है वो हुआ कि नहीं? इसके लिए आप यहाँ पे राइट क्लिक करें एट डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल, राइट क्लिक ऑन इट एंड देन सी द ओपन एट्रीब्यूट टेबल. So you can see here the data is joined. Yeah, empty migration total person you can see here in the column, and male migration you can see here, and female migration you can also see here. And you can also verify this by clicking on this organize columns. So here you can see this join symbol. Means I have joined these three fields in this table. is okay. Now our next task is how to analyze this data in this QGIS. For this, you can symbolize your map. Again, right click on it and then you click on property. Then you can see here the option symbology. Click on symbology. There are many options provided here, but I'm using only one, graduated. Then value, you can select the field. So I'm selecting total migration.
Lalit, you have only 7-8 minutes with you. So accordingly, you plan it.
Okay, ma'am. So here legal format is percent funded is okay. Now color map, you can choose your color map on the basis of your requirement. Now you can see here the classes. So on the basis of your requirement, you can select, define the classes. Here I can define 3, 4, and I can define also 2. So let me define 2 and click. You can also choose the mode. Mode means on the which basis you are classifying your data. So here I'm classifying on the basis of the content, and click on classify, and then click on apply, and then click on OK. So, this is yes, this you can see here. I have created 2 classes, red class and a class with red color, a class with white color. So you can see here that the migration is between I think 3,32,000 to 5,72,000 is indicating in red color, and the rest is indicating in white color. So this is the symbolizing and up to how to join the attribute in our save file or in our mail. So up to this, you have any query, please ask. Otherwise, I will close this practical session. So participant, any query, any question?
Some question will be in chat box, no?
Okay. Which basic version is needed to install? Yeah, I already told you have to install basically 2.18 for beginner. If you are know something about Qgis, then you can move earlier version like a 3.22, like a 3.24. So GPS data means you are talking about the images and some I think TIFF format type data. Yeah. So for longitude and latitude, here the option is also provided. So processing. Yeah, For longitude and latitude, you can see here the option in raster georeference. Using this georeference, you can add latitude or longitude in your map. So you are asking about this now? Any question? Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, Lalit.
Well, I think no question here. Can I close it? Ma'am, can I answer it?
Yes, you can close it. Okay, so this was just a very quick overview of QGIS. I know that it was a very short time, but if whoever of you are interested in using this QGIS software, they can definitely at least start with installing it, and then slowly they can take up small exercises and learn it. But as we all know that nowadays spatial aspect is very important to be attached to each kind of data or data analysis. So these softwares, whether it is ArcGIS or QGIS, if somebody has ArcGIS, they can work on that also. But otherwise, QGIS is something which we can easily install. It does not even take much time to install. And as Lalit was telling that there was a question that where you can get the layer data or the spatial data. There are many resources from where there are very many repositories where you can get this data. Some of the data is free. Other data you can buy also if you are taking up some study and find you have to take this data for your study or analysis or some application development. Then there are many resources which we can later on share with you. There is a lot of resource available on internet for QGIS in terms of manuals, small exercises and tutorials, some of which I have shared. I can share it with Dr. Rajni also so that you can also have it. And then you can start with the basic operations, how to uh, start in QGIS and create a map. So any other particular question as for the version was concerned, Lalit has already told you, but otherwise also you can just, when you go on the internet to download this software, you can find the version there. Any questions? Okay, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Anshu. Thank you very much. I know there have been many changes in your lecture, but you were kind enough to agree at every time.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, given free hand for whatever time I can do it. Even I had to change the title also, thinking that some aspects were covered in the earlier lectures by Dr. Vinay Sehgal.
No, that's fine. It's absolutely fine. It is always a pleasure to interact with the candidates, although I have very less time, but it's a very important topic that you had asked me to deliver.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lalit ji, for
Thank you, Lalit. Yes.
your assistance during this practical session. Just for the participants, Lalit is a PhD student here at ISRI, and he is working on this geospatial technologies. So he's a kind of expert for us with lots of hands-on. So I will share the numbers to you in case you have any problem. You can even talk to him while working with this. So thank you very much once again, both of you. You are invited to join our valedictory session also. So we are going to begin our valedictory session in few minutes here itself. So thank you once again.
Dr. Rajni, if they want, you can give 4-5 minutes to them, no?
Yes, we will have
5-minute break.
Our chief guest is already there, I think.
Sir has come.
We can give them 2-3 minutes. Okay, 3:35 we will start.
So that they can be ready and they might have identified who will give feedback and all.
That we have identified, no issue. So 3:35 we will start, a short break.
Yes.
Hello. Okay. So welcome back to this inaugural, valedictory session of 21 days training program, analytical techniques for decision making in agriculture. We have our chief guest for this session, Dr. Pratap Singh Vidhar. So welcome, sir, for this valedictory session. You have been kind enough to agree to this for delivering the valedictory address. Sir is there or not? He was there.
He was there. He was there.
Yes, yes. Okay. So first of all, sir, you can make your video on.
Our participants can see the chief guest.
Yes. सर का वीडियो नहीं आ रहा है.
सर शायद गाड़ी में है.
आ गया ना.
ओके. पिन कर दो जरा.
घर में है सर.
Yes, he's there. Yes, sir. Namaskar, sir. Thank
Namaskar,
you
Rajni
for
ji.
joining.
Namaskar. Good afternoon,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Thank you very much for joining. Sir, we are going to begin the valedictory session of this 21 days training program. Like, as you are aware that you have delivered one talk also on this in this training program in the first day of the training. So now, first of all, I would like to invite my course director, Dr. Subhash Chand, for welcome address. Dr. Subhash Chand.
Thank you, madam. Honorable chief guest today's function, Dr. P.S. Birthal sir, हमारे संस्थान में ही हैं. He is national professor. I'll just give a brief biodata about him. So, sir, good afternoon to you and dear participants, my colleague of this institute, and those people who are have been joined this session, valedictory session of this training program. As you understand that it is a very lengthy program we have organized. Sir, as you know, because you have taken class also, you have already given them very good information and the lecture also. These are the some 170 people who have joined for this training program, and we have very big means number of applications were more. People were eager to attend this training program. So at this valedictory function, for the information of the participants, I'll just read the some achievements, and I'll tell about the Professor Pratap Singh Birthal, so that you will know, because though he is not he is known to nationally and internationally, professionally very well to all of us, because we all belong to social science stream. So presently, Dr. Pratap Singh Birthal is a national professor at this institute, and he has been selected as a NAS fellow also long back in 2010 itself, and he was born and brought up in Haryana. He belonged to Haryana. He did his master's from Haryana Agriculture University and PhD from IRI. His research area, as you all know, technology policy, institutional economics, livestock economics, and recently he is working on climate resilient agriculture and many more aspects which are very useful from the policy point of view. He is giving his recommendation and disseminating the findings professionally, nationally, and internationally. He has served many institutes. First, like IVRI, Jatnagar, and then this institute. And he has also worked, friends, in many international institutes like Qgis, and he has been working he has worked for World Bank, Qgis system, and he has been a member of many professional societies like Agriculture Economics, ERA, and he has been awarded this ICR Best Award, which is Rafiq Ahmed Kidwai Award, and as well as he has received many awards from the professional societies in India and as well as from abroad. He has written more than 100 papers, national and international papers. Great achievement. You can't imagine why. And he has published many policy papers and policy brief, books, book chapter and all. And we all are like he acts as a guardian. He guides us, all of us. We enjoy his writings not we, our institute, but national and international professionals who are in the field of agriculture, economics, and the social science. So, sir, at this point of time, on this function, valedictory function, we welcome you on behalf of our participants, organizing committee, NCAP family, and on my personal behalf, we welcome you at this function, being a chief guest of the function. Friends, our director, due to some unavoidable circumstances, he is away from the institute, but he has.
Subhas, I'm listening.
Okay, sir.
Different name.
Welcome,
I will
sir.
listen.
Okay, sir. Welcome.
I'm
sir.
listening with
I will not
different
see,
name,
sir.
and I will not. I may not be able to speak because of disturbance.
Okay, sir. Okay. So anyway, he's here. Technology has made us. He is with us. There is no problem. So he has given guidance and directions to organize this program. And we reached to the today's valedictory function because of under his guidance and motivation. Otherwise, it was a really difficult task for us to organize such a lengthy program and for so many number of participants. So we welcome you, sir, in this valedictory function. And friends, I also welcome to all the participants who had given their time and they very disciplined manner they have attended this program. I also welcome the and thanks your departments also who has sponsored you, who has spared you, because 21 days is a lengthy period. Friends, to organize any program, the ball start rolling month or many days before. So our organizing committee team members, particularly IT team, Dr. Rajni Jain, Dilip Kumar, Dinesh Kumar, and Vikas Kumar, we all these people have done a commendable work to complete this training program, and I welcome on this function to you also. I also welcome our institute scientists and other colleagues who are who have given their lectures and attending this program. I also welcome the all faculties, best faculty which we could try from inside as well as from the outside, from our sister institutes and universities who have given their best whatever they had for the benefit of the participants. So I welcome at this function to them also. One and all, I welcome all the people who are directly and indirectly who are engaged in for successfully completing this training program. One and all, thank you very much. Jay. Over to Dr. Rajan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Subhashan, for welcoming the chief guest, director sir, and participants and faculty members of this training program. I also join you in welcoming each one of you. Now to move further for this valedictory program, I will start with the report of this training program, like the activities what we have for the last 21 days. So first of all, let me just share my screen, and I hope my screen is visible to each one of you. And
Yes, ma'am.
yes. So let me put it in slideshow. Yes. So yeah. So this training program, like we had, the training program is big, 21 days long training program. So our team, organizing team is also big along with me, Dr. Subhashan, Vikas ji, Dinesh Chan Meena, Dilip Kumar, Mangal Singh Chauhan, and Khaliram Chaudhary ji. They join hand to hand in completing this task. So I have pleasure of presenting this report. So first of all, in this training, basically we had 829 before the due date. Even the applications were coming after the due date too, but before the due date, we had these many applications. Initially, we selected 170, but then some people who were in waiting list, they were also called. And there are like nearly 30% dropouts or the persons who did not report for the training. So overall, we had nearly 120 or so attendance during the training program. So basically, as we can see, we have participation from entire NARS, including ICR as well as SAUs, and SAUs dominate the participants' representation. And we do have some 10% participation from other universities also. And regarding like we had fairly good gender balance, I think it matches with the faculty ratio in the NARS system. So we had nearly 40% females and 60% males. We do have some postgraduate students also, because they require these analytical techniques a lot for their research. So nearly 32% are the PG research students, and nearly 65%, 66% are doctorates, assistant professors, faculties, and scientists, and others, some postdoctorates are also there. In terms of social categories, we had sizable number of more than nearly 59% of SC students, and ST students, OBCs, and general students. So we have fairly good representation of all categories. Just to mention here that this training program has been organized under the SC/SP scheme of the government from like which NIAP received from ICR. So we plan for developing the skills of our students who are the future, as well as the faculty members under this category. Besides, we took advantage of this online mode, and we provided the facility of listening to the lectures to all other classes also. Here, I would like to mention that since many participants were interested to attend this training program, so we have after this selection of this 180 to others also, we sent email and sent them a link to attend this program on social media or outside the platform as a attendee in the platform itself. Then as per disciplines, all social scientists mainly, but nearly 30% are from other disciplines also, like economics, nearly 50% agricultural economics, then 10% extension, 8% from statistics were there. So majority is from social science group, but there are some other disciplines also which requires analytical techniques for their research work. As per designation, it is mainly a majority of assistant professors, and like students. After that, students, 28% students are there, and rest are in different categories of associate professor, scientist, senior scientist, and subject matter specialists from KVKs and others. Then like this 21 days training program is unique in the sense that it required availability of continuous internet. So I feel proud in saying this. I think for the first time in these 21 days, we did not face a single signal drop during the entire training. So I would like to thank Mr. Mangal Singh Chauhan and Dilip ji for their efforts in making it continuously on for the participants. And also, since one kind of bottleneck in such training programs is lack of interaction among participants themselves. So for that purpose, we identified some days and we allowed them to interact freely among themselves without the coordinators or the organizers in the team so that they can interact freely and plan for their group presentations. So like we simply wanted to know whether the internet facility is there with the participants or not. So we observed that there is still some sizable number where the internet connectivity is even though available, but not that good. So poor also. And this is just the ones who has registered. So out of that, almost all attended this inaugural program, and 3 were absent. So probably this was because of this internet connectivity. Then we also tried to know whether participants are attending with their desktop computers or phones. So this is even little bit surprising to me, because such kind of training programs, if you are attending with only phone, I don't think they can serve the purpose. So I find nearly 50% are attending this training program from their smartphones, and others from their laptop, desktop or tablet, so which is good enough. Since it was a bigger group, so we planned for having subgroups also. We divided as per our availability of the names. We divided them in 6 groups, 30 each, and we had core group representatives and co-representatives. So they were selected, and we allowed them to interact among themselves, so that group leaders they can talk to us. Even otherwise also everyone was free, but still if they wanted to discuss, so discussions are possible in smaller groups. So that's how we made groups also. And then communication, as I was telling, that these training programs not only provide us lectures which are nowadays available even on YouTubes and other websites, free lectures are available, but interaction among the like-minded people is must. So we made a good use of these social websites and other social media. So for example, we used Facebook, NIAP Facebook page for communication about the training announcement. We used Google Forms for receiving their interest, and then we used our website for communicating the participants, as well as individual emails also we sent to 180 selected participants. And then feedback. Feedback is important. So here, this was also a challenge here. So lots of forms are there. So we made use of Google Forms for that. And for routine regular communication, we had 7 WhatsApp groups, 6 for the individual groups and 1 for the entire training participants. And we have 1 organizer coordinator also for monitoring the problems of these groups. So that's how we try to involve everyone. We tried our best using whatever tools of communication are available for such kind of training programs. Now, coming to the how this conduct of training, we had inauguration on 5th February, where inauguration lecture was taken by our Honorable Director, sir. We had nearly 6 hours spent daily. 11:30 we started till 1:30 for the lectures, which had theory as well as practical content, or which are big enough to demonstrate certain techniques. Then after lunch, we had one hour lecture where it was mainly on policy related issues. And then 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. again, we had a total time of 2 hours, where 1 hour was spent on theory and 1 hour was spent on practical aspects of the same topic. And since keeping in view that sometimes connectivity is not there with the participants, and because of online training, they are not relieved from their official duties. So we were sharing the daily recordings with the participants through the groups which we were creating, so that they can go through the lectures once again. And recordings are also available on YouTube. Then groups formation was done in the second, third day of the training program. To improve the interaction, and each group was also assigned the task of doing the implementation of the tools which are learned during the training program, along with the help of their group representatives as well as organizers. And even though this valedictory program is the day for distribution of certificates, but here we will be delivering the online certificates to the successful participants. Coming to the lectures, so we had 43 unique faculty and nearly 49 lectures, 47 lectures, 4 sessions of group presentations by the participants, and the training had basically exposure of main highlight was R software, which is an open source software, because some of the participants, especially students and some universities, they are not able to provide access to the paid softwares. So we used this R software from the beginning wherever possible, but some techniques depending upon the faculty's expertise were demonstrated with the help of Stata, and then AI method was demonstrated with the help of Veka software, sometime eViews, QGIS for this GIS map making, Stella for value chain modeling, Excel for optimization, and survey solution for online data collection and its comparison with the popular Google Forms like drawbacks and comparison, and then data envelopment analysis software for TFP and other things. Besides, we covered some sensitization lectures on emerging technologies, that is bioinformatics, artificial intelligence, deep learning for visioning by the computers, machine learning, GIS, and geospatial technology, especially for crop burning, crop residue burning, data identification, and some aspects on that, as well as yield prediction using this remote sensing data, and some other ways how these geospatial technologies are now being used in agriculture. And faculty, we had 51% faculty for this training from NIAP. Almost everyone presented in this training program regarding their expertise and the issues they were working on. We had 16% faculty from IRI, 30% from our sister institute ISRI, and 3% from IGFRI. Then we have these 4 categories of lectures. So I can say 5 on emerging technologies, 32 on impact of technologies, and 15 on agricultural. These are in agriculture policy, and then software and statistical tools. So they were there. So this is the distribution of different categories of lectures. So these are some lectures which I am not going to read, like what are the lectures under statistical tool. So they are nearly 24 basically, which says that at least one technique every day was demonstrated and given hands-on to the participants. Then these are some lectures on agricultural policies, and for impact, we did 2 lectures, one on DID model and one on PSM, propensity score matching. And these are on emerging technologies, which I had already talked about. Coming to the feedback. Feedback is important because it helps us to improve. So, and also for this purpose, our institute is following the ISO certification norms, and feedback, for feedback, Google Forms were used for getting the feedback for every lecture, also for getting the skill of the participants, and also knowledge before and after the training were also taken and analyzed. So overall rating of the training with everything that was also taken from the participants. So here, like even though we analyzed, but I am not going to show impact of each and every lecture, but just to have glimpse of like how this training program has impact on the skills of our trainees. So the left one here, it shows their knowledge level, which as perceived by our participants before the training, and the second one shows after the training. So we find that there are participants like who moved from low to other categories, because we do not find in post lecture feedback their knowledge regarding low. So they have moved to medium, and some medium moved to high, and some high moved to very high. So similar pattern was observed for others lectures also. Like this, we had micro irrigation policies. We find participants which were in very high category were very less. After the training, it is a good sizable number, and same is true for even high category. So this is like machine learning in crop yield forecasting. Again, we like very low level before the lecture, and after the lecture we find there is a sizable growth in the level of knowledge. So like this similar pattern is observed in each lecture. So I am not demonstrating even AI. Earlier participants did not have any knowledge, but after this they have a good, fairly high knowledge of the technique, what AI is. And like that, it is there for each and every lecture. Now, when the participants were asked about the overall rating, then we had nearly 60% who rated it as excellent and very good, and 38% put it in good category, and 3% they say we could not meet their expectation, I should say. Then okay, this is same thing. Then I would just like to have recap of this journey in terms of is very small photo gallery. This is our inaugural speech by Dr. Suresh Pal, director of the institute, and the training team along with the director on the inaugural day. And then these are some experts presentation screenshots in the progress. So like that we had for 47 lectures. So these are also experts presentations. And then one highlight was group presentation by the participants. So these are screenshots of some of the groups basically for during the training program. So this is all I wanted to represent for this training. Now, before we go further, I would just like to request the participants to give the feedback, their oral feedback here, so that we can improve in further, because this is going to be regular phenomena. It is a regular phenomena in NIAP. So I would just request some of the participants to come forward and give their feedback. Maybe either you can raise your hands, or I can call one or the other, and you can tell whether.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon to everybody.
Okay, welcome, Dr. Latika. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Latika Sharma, working as Associate Professor in Agriculture Economics at MPUAT, Rajasthan. I wish to convey my deepest appreciation actually for the NIAP team, who has worked so hard for this training and for this virtual online program on analytical techniques. Especially, I would like to mention the work of the course coordinator, Dr. Subhash Chandra ji, who was always there present, seeing that everything is going on in a very smooth manner, and Dr. Rajni madam, and Dr. Vikas Kumar, Dilip Kumar, and all the other persons who were involved in the organizing of this training. Regarding the feedback, madam, this training was basically unique in many aspects. First of all, I think it had so many participants which were never participated in any training in or any winter school. So because of it being in virtual mode, so a lot of the participants got advantage of joining in the lectures and by enriching their knowledge through the lectures, awesome lectures that you created. Then second point was that the selection and coverage of all that analytical techniques, it was so comprehensive that starting from the exploratory data analysis to the propensities to score matching and machine learning and artificial intelligence, I think all the latest analytical techniques have been covered. And they were, the resource persons were so wide coverage from their institutes, and their expertise was so good, and they also tried all the applied aspects, all the hands-on training that they gave. That was very useful, because theoretical basis we all have as being the faculty members in this social sciences, agriculture, economics. But what we lack is that we don't get time for the hands-on training, or we either do only one or two type of analytical techniques, and rest of all we basically have medium knowledge or less knowledge. So it was the biggest, I think, advantage of this training that we got from it. Then the biggest advantage, another advantage that we got was the exposure part. Exposure was very good. The in state agriculture universities, sir, what we lack is exposure, because we work in our individual states problems, the problem basically of agriculture in that state. So at the national level, what is going on and what type of analytical techniques are being used, that we sometimes miss. So the biggest point, positive point for this training was that the exposure was very good. And whatever lacuna was there, that was from, I think, from our part only, because it being on an online mode and we having all the routine work going on. So we had to unwillingly miss some of the lectures, but because the recordings were given by the organizers, so that part was, I think, made good for. And we got all the recordings of all the lectures, and so we can see to them and also take part in that. So this is all from my side, madam. I again congratulate to all the organizers and the whole team of NIAP who contributed so much hard work for our course. Thank you so much.
Hello, am I audible, madam?
Yes,
Hello?
sir. Yes, ma'am. Boliye.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, chief guest, respected Dr. Pratap Singh, sir, and the chief patron of our training program, respected Dr. Suresh Pal Sirji, Director ICAR NIAP, course directors Dr. Rajni Madam Ji, Dr. Subhash Chand Sirji, course coordinators Vikas Kumar Sirji, Dr. DC Meena Sirji, and Dilip Kumar Ji. First of all, I would like to thanks to the organizer for selecting me as a participant for this training program. From 21 days, I was listening lectures, and all the lecture was very informative, very good, and also very well managed. The advanced application oriented lectures was covered during the training program, like artificial intelligence and decision making, tree discriminant analysis, cluster analysis, principal component analysis, micro irrigation policy, meta analysis, and many more. I learned specially from this training program how to do the statistical analysis in our software, and also we learned that how to decode the data in Stata software. And whatever I gained from this training program, that will be definitely helpful in my future research journey. And in lacuna side, I observed that the participation in the project presentation was very low. Then we need to think on that for the future training program. And on the behalf of all participants, I am very much thankful to the whole team of organizing team of training program for giving such a informative training for us. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ma'am, this is Kirti Tripathi from Krishi Vigyan Kendra Bulandshahr. And first of all, I would like to thank all the organizer for giving me a chance to give feedback for winter school attended. First of all, on behalf of all the participants, I would like to give you all a huge round of appreciation, which is actually required. Online programs are really complex to coordinate and manage. When the people are in a classroom, it is really easy to club all the things together. But when we all are from so much distant places and sitting online, it is really hard to club all the things together. So I would stand out to say that your efforts were commendable. This was indeed a very beautifully designed program, ma'am, including so much of scientific technologies and the analytical approaches, which we actually thrive to learn for. Most of us are here are economists, but some of us are not. And we always want to learn and inculcate all these technologies in our researches. And each lecture was properly justified in terms of usefulness and satisfaction indeed. I was just this is a little personal, ma'am. I was just telling my boss today in the morning that why didn't I do this program offline? Means I wasted I just said this was the first time I was doing this program like in online mode, this type of program, learning so many techniques together. I was telling him that, sir, you have to give me another chance to go for 21 days and attend this program in NIAP, because I really want to learn these things physically and do these things experimentally. It was really difficult for all of us to managing the official things and then taking these lectures, ma'am. So you did all, but some of the lacuna was from our part. And last but not least, every organizing member, be it Vikas sir, Dilip, or Meena sir, Subhas sir, and the statue of humbleness, our Rajni ma'am, was there to listening all the phone calls and listening all the things we used to say her. So it was indeed a very beautiful thing, ma'am. And thank you so much. And I will suggest, ma'am, ki next year or maybe this year, please again a small short program of 10 days, maybe taking some techniques, and just call us, we'll come there. Thank you so much, all the organizers.
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is Dr. Govind Rao from Acharya Andiranga Agriculture University, Andhra Pradesh. Good afternoon, one and all.
Please go ahead.
Especially, let me congratulate the National Institute for Agriculture Economics and Research Policy Research, because I have a given good chance to participate in the prestigious workshop, winter school training. Actually, I was not selected, but due to my request and the interest on the topic, the organizing committee have been selected. So on behalf of the Acharya Andiranga Agriculture University, I have learned so many things, especially the reputed scientist was given the lectures, and each and every lecture was very informative and excellent. So based on this, we have gained so much knowledge, especially in statistics. Of course, we have the scientist or assistant professor in statistics and computer applications. We have know something, but as far as the economics contents are very, very informative. And we have learned something, not something, we have learned more. So once again, I am wholeheartedly thanks to the organizers, especially as far as Naira, it is a very rural college, and except BSNL, there was no, network is here. Many of the times we are disconnected, but the organizing members immediately and joined in the, given the permission to join the training program. So thank you very much for giving the opportunity. And if there is any mistake, please pardon me, madam. So once again, I'm congratulating the chief, thanking the director and the organizing committee, especially the Rajni Jain madam garu and Dilip ji. So once again, I'm wholeheartedly thank you very much, madam. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Anyone would like to give some suggestions also for further improvement? Anyone else?
Good evening, madam. This is Dr. David Chelavaskar from Rani Lakshmibai Central Agriculture University, Jhansi. So this was a beautiful journey of 21 days. And really we have been gaining lots of knowledge and updation are there in our technical aspect. And each and every session was much more interesting, that we are really updated in all terms of our analytical skills. The selection of the resource person gets a great applause, because that's what the role of NAP. NAP is given such a knowledge to us. So this will really add weightage to all the faculties, to the scientists, those who are involved in the research column. So I am much thankful to all the wonderful organizers, for the post directors and all the official members from NAP. Thanking you, madam. Thanking you all.
Thank you. One last.
Good evening, ma'am. This is Ritambhara.
Yeah.
Respected director, sir, respected Dr. Bithal, sir, and respected team members, Dr. Subhashan, sir, Dr. Rajni, ma'am, Dr. Dilip, Dr. Vikas, Dr. DC Meena, sir. This is actually on behalf of the 32 group people in my group. I would like to thank you for giving us this opportunity. In fact, I was also like sir, who got this opportunity second time, and I have been trying for last 4 to 5 years to get a training with ICR and IP on the techniques. I especially would like to highlight here, because we working with the universities are engaged in teaching research and also with the extension exercises. These tools were helpful to us to connect better with our students, because I'm the one why I was more interested. I teach research methodology and especially the techniques that appealed me the most in this changing world, why AI is coming into the fray, and then switching regression on which I have been struggling for last 1 year or so, and I was not finding through reading to the international papers what to do with the behavioral analysis, and especially the data envelopment tools that I have been applying for assessment of FPOs. So many things we have learned, and this is something that we are passing to our students. So this kind of exercise is very important. And the group exercise also led us to know each other better, so that we can develop a network all over India of agricultural economists and other scientists having same kind of interest, and we shall be working more in coordination with each other. So thank you so much, NIAP. And finally, just a suggestion, ma'am, if you can please conduct it again in offline mode, that will be really, really great. I would also request a 10 days short course will work for us. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ritambhara. So I know many other participants want to give their feedback, but maybe you can give in chat box or in writing. We would certainly take whatever feasible for us. So thank you once again for your important feedback, participants. Now, I would just like to invite our chief guest, Professor Bithalji, for his remarks on the training and his valedictory address. Professor Bithal.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajni. Dr. Sureshpal is still available?
Sir is there, but I think he was saying that it is.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
So, have you reached Kanyakumari, sir?
Okay, please continue.
No, have you reached Kanyakumari or still
just now
at NIAP?
He said
okay, good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon,
yeah,
friends. It's really, a very interesting kind of feedback from the people and on the contents and organization of this webinar, 21-day webinars. So let me thank the organizers, particularly for sharing my thoughts and interact with the participants in this concluding function of 21 days webinar. Well, friends, I am not a chief guest. I am one of you.
Yes.
And who always, look forward to interact with young minds, learn from them, and sometimes, of course, to say something just to make them work better. Okay, so I'm not the chief guest, I'm one of them, and I'm always open to positive criticisms, even though of course people might be doing something negative, but it is always open to positive criticism on personal and professional friends. Well, friend, I find this is a very unique, kind of program, and I consider it's a very unique opportunities for all of us, particularly the young people, to learn the emerging techniques, analytical techniques, And if you go back sometime, say 20, 25 years back, or maybe 30 years back, when we used to be students. So these techniques, they were there. Only thing what we used to learn something on, say, regression analysis, linear regression, or Cobb-Douglas production function, and then, of course, the linear programming kind of things. So if you go back and search the thesis, even at the IRI, you will find most of the students either applying the linear programming techniques or some kind of, regression and kind of techniques. Despite the fact that at that time, there was a strong group. There were a few good teachers to teach econometrics and the methodologies, statistical methodologies for application in agricultural economics research. Now, one thing is that important from this, what I found is that it's a really amazing to see that a good response, 829 applications, It's not a small number of the people. And this clearly shows that people are looking forward to this kind of information, this kind of teaching of analytical techniques, and perhaps they might have missed this, or they might have not been taught during their post-graduation studies. And in today's world, of course, without these techniques, you cannot publish paper in high impact journal, nationally or internationally. So gone are those days when we used to just prepare some graphs or compare means and standard deviations and publish papers. Of course, now you can also publish it now, but it all depends, what kind of research you are doing. If it is somewhat unique and it doesn't require this kind of thing. You might have heard the name of Professor Narpat Singh Jodha. If you read his papers, you will rarely find any application of the statistical tools or econometrics, simple frequency analysis, tabular analysis, but he addressed the unique problems of the agrarian sector. And that's why he was, he is still remembered as a very good natural resource economist in the country. His work on collectives, particularly on Rajasthan, still it is highly quoted. Now, of course, that another important thing that what I observed from Dr. Rajni Jain's presentations. Now, most of the participants, they are highly qualified. 68% of them, what I observed, that were having the PhD degree or the postdoctoral degree, and 32% of course the postgraduate. Most of them, they are the students, and that's really a good sign, because it is the young people, particularly assistant professor, who are eager to learn, and the scientists, students. So let they should the assistant professor or the associate professor, they have learned from this, let they should pass on to the students. And if required, we are ready to help you. Our team, we can manage another because there is a lot of demand for offline organization, and we are always open to that. So anytime you can discuss with the faculty members here. And somebody, I was looking at the chat box that they were asking the mobile numbers, sharing the mobile numbers of the resource persons. But for that, maybe we have to seek their permission. So, but you can contact those people. You might have interacted with them. Just request them, send an email. Okay, I am lacking in this, and if you can help me in that. Now, another observation, my observation, of course, that it's a highly balanced, gender balanced program. 40% of participants are women, and women are, they are always eager to learn more and everything. So this is very good. And moreover, this is a multidisciplinary kind of things. You cannot satisfy, of course, in such a program to everyone. As Rajni has said that there were some people who maybe we could not meet their expectations, but my request is identify who are these people and discuss with them how we can improve upon that, why they were not satisfied. Despite that, we identified very good lecturers and very good resource persons. So we can just ask them why you are not satisfied, so that it will provide us an opportunity to improve upon. Now, moreover, another feature, of course, that theory and practice combined. So maybe in a kind of virtual mode, it is really difficult, to go for hand holding of every person. But in the offline mode, of course, the theory and practice, what I feel it is really important because of the theory, how you can apply to your problems, solve the problems. And moreover, there are a number of lectures, particularly on the emerging technologies, be it the bioinformatics or artificial intelligence or machine learning or geospatial kind of modeling and all those kind of things. Now, well, friend, I think that this kind of program, it might have might be helping many of you in solving your research problem, applying the research problem, and you have learned because this number 180 people who joined this program. Now, this shows their quest for learning of the new techniques, new methods, okay, and acquiring new knowledge. And I am 100% sure that you will be sharing your knowledge. So those who could not attend from your institutions, maybe they are your friends or colleagues and students. So through the teaching, through interaction, and through your research, you will be able to share this knowledge to these peoples. Now, for you, the organizer, it was really I appreciate your efforts. I congratulate the entire team led by Dr. Rajni Jain and Dr. Subhash Chand, because why I say that organizing 47 lectures, okay, and that also plus theory and practice and 24, techniques. Now, first of thing is that identified 24 techniques, it's really very difficult, statistical or analytical techniques. And I think that you might have overburdened the participants with those 24 techniques. My question is that my suggestion is that in the future, whatsoever you do, let it focus on one or two technologies, and thoroughly ask the participants to come with your data sets and then thoroughly help them to learn the technologies through theory as well as the practice. So this will, I think, it will be quite nice because in 24, everybody cannot master these techniques. So maybe even if most of them, if they master one or two techniques, which are really interesting and applicable or more required in agriculture research, so that would be a great contribution for that. Well, friends, and why I say because our success, it depends on the success of the participants. We invest time, we invest resources, and just for, so that our colleagues, those who are located in the remote areas at the agriculture universities, so they may learn and they pass on the knowledge to their colleagues, to their students. So now of course, and I request all of you, please, at least apply one of the technique to the research problem which you are handling it, so that it will also infuse confidence in us. It is not only that, okay, you have attended the lecture, but when we see that, okay, this fellow who attended this training program, he has applied this technique in his research. You publish it, share with this, then it will be really, very thrilling for us, and it will infuse a lot of confidence in our team also. Now, why I'm saying that often I have seen people when it was particularly in the offline mode. So I often used to go to maybe at a NIAP or in the IRI that excellence program, deliver the lecture, go for some kind of hand holding and all these people in exercising. So at that time, there is a lot of enthusiasm among the participants to learn the techniques. And then when I used to say at the end, okay, will you apply it in your research? Yes, sir, yes, sir. But what happens once they are out of the classroom, the technique is also out of their mind. So please imbibe what has been taught to you so that it can help improve your professional career and also professional careers of the younger generation whom you are teaching or with whom you are working. Now, this was a great opportunity, what I feel, for all of us, including the teachers, including the students, to acquire, knowledge about the new technologies. And today's world, particularly in economics, particularly in the economics field, in today's world, it's really very difficult, as I said, to publish in the high impact journals until unless you apply some good techniques. You may be facing some problems in application of any of that technique. Maybe either you have not properly grasped the technique that has been taught to you or which are you applying to your problem, or the data at hand. Sometimes what happens, okay, we have the data, let me put this technique. You cannot apply all the technique to all types of data sets, to all types of problems. Okay, say for example, if we are interested in applying the difference in difference approach, for that you required a good data set, pre and post kind of interventions. Okay, now if you want to assess the impact of some kind of intervention taken made at a state level in a particular state, say for example, you might have been taught this synthetic control matching technique by Dr. Prabhat Kishore. That's a very good technique. Okay, the state has made or the district has made this kind of intervention, and you can just compare what happened, what was the pre-intervention kind of scenario, and then after the pre-intervention kind of scenarios. So this is the technique where you can apply, okay, at a macro level kind of things, not at the micro level kind of things. So my question is that, okay, you choose the technique appropriately, which suits to your problems and the data set at your hand. Now, then, of course, some suggestion where we commit the mistakes particularly. Okay, if you want to run a simple kind of regression, say yield is a function of this. So we include all types of variables. Have we really identified the appropriate variables there? Not necessarily that there should be a huge list of the variables, 30, 40, 50 variables. Let it be, say 4, 5, 6, which are really pertinent. So when you include more of the variables, of course, that regression analysis may not capture the impact of the irrelevant kind of things, but there are some kind of, relevant variables, but you have to identify them properly. For example, there may be a few variables, they might be correlated. Multicollinearity may be a problem. For example, if you take the case, then the age of the household and the education of the households. So you will find that these are often correlated. In time series analysis, you must look for like a random behavior in that time series, and go for, some kind of stationary. You must also look for kind of the autocorrelation, how to transform these variables. So these are some of the things which you must, look into your data, and having selected the technique which you are going to apply. Then the more importantly, it becomes what you want to address. What are your research questions? What are your hypotheses? Okay, so you build upon that, and then accordingly you see what is the data set which is available with you, clean the data, look for the missing data, look for the outliers. Particularly sometimes what happens, we are using the huge data set, particularly situation analysis survey of farmers, about 60,000 households. And definitely there will be some missing observation. There will be some, outliers. And when we go for this kind of, even for the simple descriptive statistics, we don't find that, okay, our mean or the average for a particular doesn't match with what is there in the report, because the report has not considered what is presented in the report SAS report, it has not considered all these kind of things, missing data or even the outliers. So there may be a kind of problem. So look for clean the data for all these kind of things. And then, of course, I have already spoken. Then, of course, then once you have chosen your model, then you go for some kind of model specification tests. What do I mean to model specification tests? Does your model is appropriately identified? No, you select some model and it is not identified properly, then it will give the wrong results. Then if there is a wrong, I tell you, this is one of it's a real example. I don't want to name. Now, sometime back, maybe about 15-20 years back, somebody estimated the demand elasticity for milk using the state level data, and it was too high. So when we questioned it, then his response was, that's a model ke results. So we should not blame. So that means what kind of information you are feeding in the model. So we will get a similar kind of the results. If you feed good data, you use good technique, then you will find the good results. So how you are going to handle all these kind of, so you look at the model specification test, and there are a number of tests, chi-square test you can use, the NEF-STAT6 or LR test, all these kind of things you do it. Now, once you have estimated or you have your model, so what you do? Okay, you look for the sign and significance of the coefficients. Now sometimes as I said, that may be a problem of multicollinearity. Now, with the sign of the two variables, we are expecting to be in the same direction or maybe significant, but because of multicollinearity problem, they not be carrying the same sign, they may be having the opposite signs, and then we are puzzled. Now, when I was a scientist at the Indian Veterinary Research Institute, of course, that biological scientists, they don't use much of the statistical data, but the t-test, ANOVA, and all these kind of things. So the students used to come to the statistician. I used to share a room with 4 or 5 statisticians. So they used to come, sir, unka result to bada significant aaya, mera nahi aaya. So that is important. So maybe there is some problem with the data, maybe some problem with the calculations. And even if it is there, then you can, you feel these are the important variables, these need to be there, then you rerun or transform the variables. Because particularly maybe the scared terms or the interactions kind of things and all these kind of things. Then, of course, what I observed, that the interpretation of the results. So what happens now? What is there? We are in the tables. We just reproduce in the text. That is not the correct way. Okay, that is not the correct way. You have the knowledge of the techniques. You have applied the techniques, but until unless you interpret your results properly, okay, then it's really very difficult that to justify, or even if you have the good results and all, that's your paper. There are very high chances that your paper may not be accepted for that. So please do this kind of thing. Another problem what I observed is the paper that I will receive in ERA. You prepare a huge number of tables. Basically, the paper is a data mine. Family size, land holding size, caste, another table, experience, another table. Just produce a simple descriptive statistics. If you are comparing the two groups or not comparing, descriptive statistics of the variables in a single table, that conveys a lot of meaning in that. And then again, when you try to write your results, then go for a kind of logical sequencing. Try what is the pure problem and what you expect. So, okay, these are the likely to be the most important variables in addressing this kind of problem. Begin with the most important variables, description of those kind of variables. Don't say, okay, the family size of this household, this group is this much, this is, but it is not relevant. Even I say that you may leave this if it is not related to your problem. Now, if you want to assess the impact of a particularly any technology, what are the key variables there? So maybe the information availability, credit availability, these will influence the uptake of the technology. You begin all those kind of things rather than, okay, age will influence or experience will influence and all these kind of things. So begin with those kind of things and not that kind of random kind of. Well, friends, you know, for many of us, I found that most of us are agricultural economists. There is a pressing demand from your bosses, your vice chancellor, the directors of the institutes to go for impact assessment of the technology. And you know, the canvas of impact assessment, it has broadened a lot. You know, it is not just you compare the yield or the returns or the cost of production, that everybody can do it. Even if a biological scientist, he can do it. If you ask him, he asks you for the impact assessment, and if you provide this kind of table to him, what happens? You know, he will say, what you know about this? I also can do this kind of impact assessment. So use the appropriate technologies, prove your worth within the biological system. Okay, we are useful. Sometimes, you know, we listen that, okay, I'm not given an opportunity, I'm not given by chance by the director to do this and that. No, you have to prove your worth to the system. Yes, I am important to the system. I am important to the institute, and I have done this kind of impact assessment. So, and then of course let's go beyond the economic impact, estimating benefit cost ratio or internal rate of returns or NPV or all those kind of things. Now go beyond this economic impact. Look for the social impact. What has happened to poverty because of the technological change? What has happened to the nutritional status of the people because of the technology adoption? What are the ecological impacts? You know, nowadays that ecosystem services, they are becoming, from agriculture, they are becoming very important. But neither our biological scientists nor the economists, they have done much work on valuation of the ecosystem services. So this is some of the kind of, you know, challenges before agricultural economists. And why? Because this impact assessment is becoming complex. So the complexity is also increasing in the adoption of this one application of the analytical tools. So we have to match. We have to look for the appropriate tools to address the particular problem. And finally, of course, what I feel that they don't, you know, be mechanical in the quest of applying all the 24 techniques to your research problem. Identify one or two. Read the related literature with those technologies, with empirical studies on application of these technologies. So that will help you refine it. Maybe sometime it is frustrating for many of us. Okay, we are not able to apply that. We are not able to get good results. But you have to keep on learning, keep on doing. Okay, this kind of things, doing and learning. So that will help a lot to improve upon your professional capabilities as a researcher, as a teacher, and of course, when you go to your progression as an administration. So there is a very high demand for this course from most of you. And I assure you that in the future also, we shall organize maybe for a shorter duration, for a week or so, and one or two technologies, two techniques. And then, of course, somebody said that it was a wonderful journey. Let's keep the wonderful journey going on. And thank you, and wish you all the best for your professional endeavors in the future. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for your encouraging words and like throwing some challenges and problems which comes while using these techniques for writing the papers for publications. You have also assured that we will be organizing similar programs in offline mode for a shorter time so that participants can actually use their own data set for that purpose. So we also tried to encourage them to use their own data sets for their group presentations. But of course, online has some limitations, and we'll try to overcome those limitations in future offline training programs. So thank you very much, sir, for giving encouraging tips for publications to the participants of the training program so that they can utilize these techniques in future for their own research. At this time, I would also like to say, participants, whenever you are successful in applying some technique for your research, you can send us email regarding, yes, you were successful in using this technique, which you learned here, and you could publish it. So thank you once again to Professor Bithal for delivering this very informative talk to the participants. Thank you. Now, I would just like to end this session by delivering the formal vote of thanks. First of all, I thank our chief guest, our own head of the family persons for being present here. I would like to give my sincere thanks and gratitude to our director, sir, for being present here throughout this inaugural session, even though he is on vacation to the farthermost place from NIAP. So thank you very much, sir, for being with us, even though you are not at NIAP. I would also like to thank all the faculty members here, who has delivered their talk. Without their lecture, without their interest, such kind of training programs are not possible. I would also like to thank the participants, who has shown keen interest in this training program, and in spite of their routine official duties, which they have to do because this is in online, they have to take classes, they have to do other administrative and teaching tasks in their respective institutes. So who showed keen interest till the last day of this training program. So thank you very much, all participants. I would also like to thank the IT team, especially Mr. Dilip and Mr. Chauhan, who were on their toes throughout the 21 days because with a single lapse in their activity would result in either delay or not getting properly connected. So thank you very much again. I'm really proud of you people that you could manage it so well. I am also thankful to all my colleagues and team members who were with me in organizing this training program throughout, not only when we are having the sessions, especially our actual communication starts after the sessions are over on WhatsApp. We were communicating with the participants and solving some problems, whatever they are facing, and sharing the recordings, and sometimes they are not opening, then sharing them again. So there are lots of different unique issues and challenges in the training programs, but with the help of our colleagues, cooperative team members, we could face these problems, and we could successfully complete this training program. Finally, I would also like to thank SCSP scheme sponsors, due to which this training program could be organized and opportunities can be given to this many number of participants for attending analytical techniques lectures for decision making in agriculture. Lastly, my thanks are due to administration and finance for giving their support in conduct of this training. Thank you once again. Thank you each one of you for being with us. Once again, thank you, Professor Birthalji, for
thank you.
Being part of this valedictory program and also delivering your lectures during the training program. Thank you, Director Sir, once again for providing the necessary guidance and support. Whenever we went, like with some problem, we always guided like how to solve and how to approach that problem. So thank you once again to the entire NIAP, as well as the faculty from outside and everyone. Thank you once again. Some participants like requested for resource persons numbers. So as Professor Bithal has rightly said, we shall be sharing you the email address, and like then you can contact with them and you can ask them whatever is required. I think that is a better way of communication. And in case needed, they will always be able to share their numbers. And we are here if you require any other help in future. We will definitely we try to help to the extent possible to us. Regarding the certificates, they will be in online format. They will be emailed to you within a week's time. Thank you, all of you. Thank you once again. Thanks a lot for being with me throughout this journey of Winter School from 5th February to 25th today. Thank you, everyone. So
thank you very much, madam. Thank you,
we would like to have some snapshots and some photographs. So those who have just switched off the video, if they can make it on for some time, I will request co-host and host to take some snapshots so that it becomes, we will post it to the group also, like you can use it. So because we cannot have the formal group photograph, but this is also equally good. So once done, Chauhanji, you can let me know that photo is over. So thank you. I have tried to promote every attendee to this mode, but some probably did not get promoted. So my apologies to them. So thank you once again. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. So we have taken.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Yeah.
Thank you, madam.
Now you can have any informal talks if you want.
Thank you, madam. When we will be getting our certificate, madam?
We will try to send it in a week's time. That also requires lot of analysis before sending it. So it will be given to those who have actually attended the training program, at least in majority of the days.
ट्रेनिंग करवाई इन्होंने 25 दिन की 21 दिन की.
So Dr. Vikas Kumar, like I think you are.
कुछ बोल दीजिए विकास.
So
thank you ma'am, thank you very much.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you
for your kind of cooperation.
Thank you.
And lecture.
So,
thank you.
Any of my team member, if would like to say anything, most welcome now to the participants. विकास जी के forms, I hope सारे हो गए होंगे. नहीं हुए तो you can again remind them. I know it's very hectic to send these forms daily and then noting down the feedback, but he did a good job of sending it to all of you.
Once again, we can request them who are could not fill the form, they can go home and they can fill and send it, but definitely they need to send it.
Yes, true. These forms, as I told, like certificate.
It is a record for us.
This is a record, and this record has to be sent to ICR also.
Yes.
So better try to do this.
So David, when are you calling us?
Ma'am, I am having one request to you, please.
Yes, Dr. Ganga Devi.
Yeah, ma'am, if it is possible, can you provide the compiled PPTs or maybe the reading material or recordings? Because sometimes what happens, we are not downloaded, all the recordings are not going on. So in some of the recording, the issues are there. So if it is possible, please provide.
Yes, certainly.
We will try. We will try, madam. But you are telling you could not download it. See, you had only one mission. We had all 170.
I know, sir.
But still, we will give. We will give. We will give you the link.
If it is possible, I am saying.
Yes,
We'll
sure.
try.
We will
share the
We'll give.
Yeah, through our website, like as well as through YouTube, and we will send you those links where, like, when you can see at your disposal whenever it is feasible.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Special congratulations and special thanks to Dr. Subhash Chandra sir for his energetic and he is always enthusiasm. With the non-stop,
we don't
point of time.
Thank you. Special thanks to our entire team, our NIA family, because without their support, it could have not happened today. It was a Herculean task. Still, I'm telling. Thank you very much to all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, all participants. Thank you, reminders.
So we call it a day. So thank you. Like,
bye. Good luck. All the
future
best.
Thank you, everyone.
We will keep this group open for some more, weeks or days till you receive your certificate, so that those who have not received, like, we can communicate about what is the status and all. So, like, you can communicate through that. And of course, you have our emails and contact numbers, so that is not an issue.
Yes.
So, thank you. So we are